In this video, I'm going to take you from beginner to expert when it comes to ungating on Amazon. I'm going to show you the exact sites that you need to use and the exact steps that you need to take to get yourself ungated in popular categories, subcategories, and even some of your favorite brands like Nike, Lego, Hasbro, Nintendo, and really any brand that you can think of. And if you watch this video until the end, I'm going to give you two very special things. One, I'm going to give you a list of auto ungated brands that you can go plug into your Seller Central account today and get approved to sell instantly. I'm also going to give you a website to use where you can go and get a real legitimate invoice to ungate yourself in brands like Nike, Timberland, Adidas, Puma, and many other brands. Now, there are ungating services out there charging hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for the same exact information that I'm going to be giving you today. You see this right here? This is insane. I'll show you how to get this done for free. But first, we need to understand why ungating on Amazon is so crucial to your success. And if you don't learn how to do this, you will inevitably follow one of 4 different paths that usually means you're getting left behind everyone else. But more on that later. Now, let's imagine we have 2 separate people. We have Jeff and we have Marcus. Now, Jeff does not know how to get ungated. And because he doesn't know how to get this done, he goes around trying to scan whatever he can, just trying to find some profitable inventory to sell on Amazon. After trying to do product research for hours and hours on end, he finally comes across something that will actually make him some real money. He gets excited, he's ready to actually make this business work, and Amazon stops him in his tracks and tells him, no, you can't sell this, you're gated. This leads him to feeling defeated and frustrated that he just can't find any profitable inventory, and this is where the self-doubt really starts to creep in. He starts to ask himself, man, can I even do this? Like, is this even possible? Like, how is everyone else making this work but me? And if this is you right now, don't worry. This was me at the beginning as well. I know it can be very frustrating and disheartening, but luckily I figured it out, and I'm going to show you exactly how to figure it out as well. Now, Marcus, on the other hand, does know how to get ungated. So much so that when he runs into a gated product, it barely slows him down because he knows exactly what to do, he knows exactly where to go, and it works every single time. So opportunity finds Marcus every single day. Now he has the ability to scale his business significantly faster than Jeff. Now, our 2 guys right here are trying to make some money on Amazon, but they have very different strategies that they can implement. You see, Jeff can only sell 1 brand, which means his opportunity to find profitable inventory is severely limited. But Marcus can sell 20 brands, which means he has an abundance of profitable inventory that he can come across. And this is exactly why ungating on Amazon is so crucial to your success. It is literally the ability to manufacture opportunity on the platform, and it is the easiest way to gain a competitive advantage over all of the new sellers that are on the platform starting at the same time as you. This is exactly why even in the beginning stages of my one-on-one mentorship program, I put such a heavy emphasis on ungating and having an ungating strategy because I knew how valuable it was. Clients of mine have taken very similar information that I'm going to be sharing with you today and got themselves ungated in tons of brands, categories, and subcategories. Clients like Michael and I even took it a step further and got themselves ungated in $2,500 worth of brands and categories. This is exactly how much it would cost him to use an ungating service, but luckily he was able to get himself ungated for a fraction of the cost. And I'm going to show you exactly how to do this as well in this video. So let's get started. The first thing that we need to go over are the basics of gated products. Now, being gated on Amazon simply means that Amazon has put a restriction on your ability to sell a specific product. And in order to be approved to sell that specific product, you would need to provide Amazon with specific documentation. Once you have provided Amazon with the requested documentation, you will now be what's called ungated, which means now you have the ability to sell that brand on the platform. Now, most people will complain about all of the gated items on Amazon, but I truly believe this was one of the best things that Amazon could have done on the platform, and one of the best things that they could have done for third-party sellers like you and I. You see, what Amazon did was that they placed an immediate barrier of entry for everyone who was starting to sell on the platform. This drastically separated the people who were serious about taking advantage of this massive opportunity that Amazon has given us to create a real legitimate profitable business, and the people who just wanted to come onto Amazon to make a quick buck. That barrier of entry, as simple as it is to get over, would completely crush these new sellers who were not serious about creating an actual business. This would lead to significantly less competition over time in those gated brands, categories, and subcategories. Now, ungating on Amazon has drastically changed over the years, and we can use this to our advantage. You see, back when I started selling on Amazon in 2018, ungating was a big mystery. There was very few people who actually knew how to do it, and if you weren't one of them, you were stuck having to wait and hope that you would get auto ungated, or you would be forced to pay an ungating service to get you ungated in the desired category or subcategory. And back then, even with real legitimate invoices from authorized suppliers, Amazon was still a headache to deal with. But now Amazon has gotten significantly more lenient, and like I said, we can use this to our advantage, and we can get ungated in pretty much anything that we can think of. Now let's go over part 2, which is exactly what is gated on Amazon and how to find out if you're gated on the platform. Now there are 4 different ways to be gated on Amazon. You can be gated in the category, the subcategory, the brand, or a specific ASIN. And the requirements will differ depending on if it's a category ungate or if it's a brand ungate. If it's a category ungate, there will be additional requirements that Amazon will request from you. And if it's a brand ungate, usually you can just submit an invoice and you're gonna be good to go. Also, not every category or subcategory is gated. For example, the category toys is ungated. The subcategory under the toys main category, like board games and card games, are also ungated, but the subcategory toys and games is gated. Now, let me show you exactly how to find out if you're gated for a category, a brand, a subcategory, or even an ASIN. The first thing that you need to do is you need to find the product listing on Amazon that you are going to want to jump onto. So this is the existing listing that we want to sell on, and we want to find out if we're gated in the Cole Haan brand. What we're going to need to do is find the product identifier, which is going to be the ASIN. You can find it right here on this section of the URL, or you can scroll down to the product details page of the Amazon listing right here, and you will find the ASIN here as well. Once you have the ASIN, all you need to do is go back to your Seller Central account, add the product to your inventory. You will enter that ASIN into the search bar, and then if it says apply to sell, that means you are gated. Now, to find out exactly what you're gated in, you will need to click apply to sell, and then it will take you to this page and it will tell you exactly what you're gated for. Part 3. Methods of ungating. Now, when it comes to ungating yourself, you have 2 different options. You have the auto ungate option, and then there's the self ungate. Now, there's also a third option, which is paying an ungating service to ungate you, but I no longer recommend this because it's just really easy to get yourself ungated in 95% of the things that you want to sell on Amazon. And if you just watch until the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to do it for yourself, and you're going to save a ton of money. Now, let's talk in detail about the auto ungate. Now, there's a few different ways that you can auto ungate yourself on Amazon. The first one and the best one being the one-click approval, which looks like this. You just literally just click the apply to ungate and you're done. You are now approved to sell that brand on the platform. And then there's also auto ungate questionnaires, which most of the time will look like this. You just need to watch a short video and then you will answer the questions. The questions are always the same. So every time you get this popped up, you answer the same way and you will get auto approved. Now, there are also other questionnaires that you may get that look like this, but most of the time you're going to be dealing with the first one that we talked about. Now, auto ungating is very appealing to everyone because you literally don't have to do anything. You just click and you get approved, or you answer a few questions and you get approved. There is really nothing to it. The problem is that we don't know exactly how auto ungating works. Usually you're going to be getting auto ungated in smaller to mid-sized brands and the occasional bigger brands that you may also get ungated for, but usually it's not going to be everything across the board. We also don't know exactly what factors Amazon takes into account. Our best guess is that they're taking into account time on the platform and seller metrics, but we don't know for sure. So you could be waiting 6 months, you could be waiting a year, you could be waiting 2 years. And you also have to consider that you are not going to get auto ungated in everything, regardless of what your seller metrics are or your time on the platform. For example, after my first year, I was auto ungated in the OTC category. But even to this day, I was not auto ungated in every single category, and I was definitely not auto ungated in some of the bigger brands. I had to go and ungate myself in order to sell those brands on the platform or in those categories. So auto ungating is great, but we just can't rely on it because we just don't know when it's going to happen or if it's going to happen. It's much better to know how to self ungate, which I'm going to show you exactly how to do next. Now, as a thank you for watching until this point in the video, I did go ahead and leave a list of auto ungated brands down below. It outlines the brand that you're going to be ungating for and the ASIN that you need to use to get yourself auto ungated right away. You can literally go plug those in right now and start selling those brands. Now, what we're going to be talking about for the remainder of the video is the self ungate. And if you remember back to the beginning of the video when I mentioned the 4 paths that you would follow, if you don't learn how to self ungate, you will inevitably follow one of these 4 different paths. Now, path number 1 is that you'll continue to source whatever you are eligible to sell, which usually means a much slower rate of growth. This is the best possible option when it comes to these 4 paths. Now, path 2, you will end up paying hundreds, if not thousands, to an ungating service, which means that you will get ungated in those desired things, but you will always be at the whim of that service because you don't know how to ungate yourself. Path number 3, you will end up using inferior methods or shortcuts that may lead to you just wasting money and having to hold on to that inventory because you couldn't get approved. And if Amazon ever regates you on any brands or categories, which they recently did, you will not have the ability to get yourself ungated again. And path number 4, which unfortunately happens way too often, is you'll just quit. But I don't want that to be you, so I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do to get yourself ungated on Amazon. Part 4, how to apply and ungate yourself on your first attempt. Now, you're going to have 2 different options to get this done. You can either submit a letter from a manufacturer or you can submit an invoice from a distributor. 99% of the time, you will be using an invoice from a distributor. To be clear, this is one or the other, not both. Most people don't pay attention to detail and they see that Amazon is requiring this or that, and they think that they need to get a letter from a manufacturer and an invoice from a distributor, which you do not need to do. Now let's go over the minimum requirements that Amazon is going to ask that your invoice has. And then after that, I'm going to show you some red flags and some pro tips that I've learned from a lot of trial and error over the years that will significantly increase your chances of getting ungated on your first attempt, which is the goal. Because the ungating process is a near automated system. That is, until your application gets denied. Once you get denied once, the likelihood of it going to an actual person is significantly higher, which presents a lot more variables that may hurt us or help us when it comes to ungating. So what we want to do is get ungated on the first attempt so that we can make this process as easy and painless as humanly possible. Now, these are the invoice requirements that Amazon is always going to ask of you. It needs to be dated within 180 days. It needs to include your name and address. It needs to include the name and address of the manufacturer or distributor. It needs to show the combined purchase of at least 10 units. You can show the pricing information if you would like to. And then it says, please note that we may verify your submitted documentation by contacting product vendors you identify in your application. Now, this part is important because from time to time, Amazon will call your supplier to verify that everything is legitimate. They want to verify the order that matches the invoice that you just sent them. They want to verify that you are who you say you are, and they want to verify that you actually have an account with that supplier. Now, Amazon can be finicky with what they accept and what they deny. So because of that, you're going to be constantly having to troubleshoot your invoice. Sometimes the smallest changes will be the difference between you getting accepted and you getting denied. So these are a few invoice pro tips and some serious red flags that you absolutely want to avoid if you can, that will make the process even easier. The first thing is that you need to make sure it's a finalized invoice, which means it is showing proof of payment. It cannot be a pro forma, it cannot be a packing slip or anything like that. The second thing is you want to make sure it is in a non-editable format, which means it can be in a PDF or you can print it out, scan it, and then submit it to Amazon. The third thing is you don't want to mix and match your 10 units. I've tried this multiple times and it never leads to any approval. I always have to end up going and buying 10 units of a single item that then I use to ungate. So do not mix and match. Next, ideally, your ship to and bill to address should be the same and it must match your Amazon account. If this is not possible for you, then at least the bill to address must match what you have on your Amazon account. Now, some invoice red flags are missing invoice requirements. Now, sometimes you can fly under the radar even if you're missing something and Amazon will still approve you, but this is something that will flag in Amazon system and then lead to an auto denial. Then you would need to provide more information to make sure that you can express why you are meeting these requirements. So this could be in additional screenshots, it could be in just more information, it could be you highlighting certain sections to show that yes, I am meeting your requirements. The next one is a big one. If your invoice shows the word pro forma anywhere, this is almost always an instant denial. So if you can avoid this, avoid it at all costs, because this will get so bad that even if you show proof of payment, you have your supplier show you all of the proof so that you can go submit it to Amazon on top of a legitimate invoice, and you show pictures, whatever it is, sometimes they will still keep denying you until you go get a brand new invoice for a brand new product. So if it has pro forma, avoid it at all costs. Now let's go over how to apply To Ungate on Seller Central. So the first thing that you need to do is you need to go to the Seller Central homepage, and you will click on add a product, and it will take you to this page. On the search bar, you can enter UPC, EAN, ISBN, or the ASIN of the product that you wish to ungate in. You will most likely be using the ASIN. Now, once you've entered that, you will be redirected here. Choose the condition that you wish to sell in, and it will also have some information on the limitations that may apply. After this, you will click on apply to sell. Then you'll be on the selling application, and you will click request approval, and you'll be taken here where you'll be able to upload your invoice to Amazon. You will then add your email address and phone number and submit. After you do this, it is just a waiting game. You may get instant approval. It may take a couple of hours, a couple of days, or even a week or so. That is all completely dependent on Amazon, and everybody's situation is going to be different. Now that you understand everything that you need to know about ungating, let me show you how to ungate yourself in grocery and what website to use to go get a real legitimate invoice for brands like Nike. Now, the website that you need to go to get yourself ungated in grocery is going to be wholesale.frontiercoop.com. Now, Frontier Co-op has a retail option, which just everyday people can go and shop, but we don't want to buy from there because we want to get a real invoice from them, and we won't get that if we're just buying on their retail site. So they actually have two separate sites. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to go to the co-op membership. In order for you to purchase from here, you're going to need to pick one of these two options. You can pick a non-member account, just pay the one-time 10% surcharge, or pay the one-time 10% activation fee. It is completely up to you. It's not going to make much of a difference. You're just needing to use this website to get yourself ungated in the grocery category. Now, what you're going to need to do is you're going to go over here to search, and you're going to type in taco seasoning. Now, once you get to taco seasoning, you're going to look for the brand Simply Organic. Now, I've used Frontier Co-op and the brand Simply Organic to get myself ungated all the way back in 2018, and then Amazon introduced some regates a couple years later. I used Frontier Co-op again. All of my students have been using Frontier Co-op for years because it always works. So you're going to get an invoice from them. You're going to match up one of these products. The one that you're going to use for this example is the fish taco seasoning, and here is the listing for the fish taco seasoning. I will highlight the ASIN for you. It's right here, so you can pause it right there. So you have the ASIN that you're going to need to use. It's going to be the Simply Organic fish taco seasoning, and it's going to be right here, and this is the exact same one. Now, I can't go and actually apply To Ungate because I'm already ungated in grocery, but if for some reason this one isn't popping up as gated, then all you would need to do is continue to look for another Simply Organic seasoning or other seasoning of whatever kind that is ungated on Amazon. In order to get ungated, you can't just get a grocery item. It has to be an exact match, and it has to fall under a gated category in Amazon's catalog for it to work for the actual ungate. Now, once you submit this invoice along with any invoices that you submit for ungating, if you get denied, all you need to do is continue to resubmit. If Amazon gives you some direction, take their feedback, make some adjustments to your invoice. Sometimes the smallest little changes will be the difference between you getting approved and you getting denied. So you just want to kind of play around with your invoice and what you're submitting and what you're telling Amazon in order to get approved. Over my years of selling on Amazon, there has only ever been one time where I was not able to get myself ungated in a brand. So with persistence, you will get ungated most of the time. All right, so that's Frontier Co-op. You can also use Frontier Co-op to get ungated in many other categories and subcategories and brands. You just have to look around the website, and if you happen to pop up and it says that you're gated in this category, you're gated in this brand, see if Frontier Co-op carries it, and then use it to get yourself ungated. Now, the website that we're going to use to get a real legitimate invoice to ungate ourselves in brands like Adidas, Nike, Puma, New Balance is soccer.com. Now, what you're going to need to do is go and create an actual account with soccer.com, because once you order your 10 units of whatever product you're going to use to ungate, they will then upload an invoice to your account. So you will need to create that first. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to search the brand right here on the search bar that you want to ungate in. So we search Nike, and what we're going to do is we're going to sort from low to high, because we want to source the cheapest possible product that we can in order to use that to ungate, because most of the time, if you're using it to ungate, you're not going to be making money on it. We just want to minimize our losses as much as possible. So the product that you're going to use is going to be this Nike Vapor Knit jersey right here. And this shirt right here actually just got added onto Amazon, and it's actually selling for $90 right now. So you can pick it up for $10, get yourself ungated, and ideally pick up at least 1 or 2 sales, and you'll make some serious money if you can get in there at this price. Unfortunately, this product has only recently been uploaded. I think it only has like 50 days of history on the keeper graph, but as long as it is gated for that brand and it is an exact match with what you're getting, you will use this product to get ungated on Amazon. Use these 2 suppliers and websites that I showed you today to get yourself ungated in a bunch of other things as well. Do not limit yourself just to those 2 things that we talked about. And if you guys are interested in joining my one-on-one mentorship program, go ahead and check that first link in the description. This is not group coaching or anything like that. I am literally one-on-one with you, telling you exactly what you need to do, the adjustments that you need to make so you can actually make this business work and not go from course to course to course, being stuck, not advancing in your business growth. This is you getting my one-on-one support so that we make sure that we're not wasting time and we're growing as quickly as possible. If you guys are interested in that, go ahead and click that first link in the description, and I will see you guys in the next one.